At the KSMO studios, time for our salute on the SMDH Salem Memorial District Hospital, and we have Mike Gruenberg with us. Hey, buddy.
How are you?
I'm doing well. I
Good.
haven't seen you since Dr. L. I was talking to
Yeah.
him, and I saw you. That was the last time I guess I seen you
Probably
there.
was it?
Yeah, very good. So anyway, good to have Mike here. Mike is Director of Ambulance Services. Is that what they call it?
Yep. And then I'm doing emergency management and the time critical diagnosis stuff, the strokes and
Just
STEMIs.
something else to do on the side?
Oh yeah.
Emergency management. Man,
Yeah.
you're busy.
Uh-huh.
Gotten a lot busier, huh?
Oh yeah. With COVID, it really took up a lot of time. So
Yeah, it really did. There's a lot of different stuff. But anyway, Ed, Mike and I were talking before we came on the air. I know when I was at the last board meeting, they're still looking for a couple of ambulances to replace the ones we have. And as Mike and I were talking, they're like, like hen's teeth. If you can find one, you better hang on to it, right?
oh yeah. So getting a new one's going to be a couple years out. It's just a manufacturer's delay.
So if you had to order one.
Yeah, if we had to order one. So we're looking for a couple used options. So hopefully we can find some good ones that way.
That's what, Mike and I were talking. There's some you don't want to get, and there's some you do want to get.
Yeah, we're just going to be particular on the engines and the
Sure.
years, and we're going to be careful with it.
And I don't think people realize when you live in rural areas how much harder it is on ambulance in our area with gravel roads and dirt roads and getting to some locations that you have to drive in than somebody in St. Louis City. You're on a city road and paved all the time, right?
Yeah, the wear and tear definitely is worse. So
No doubt.
lots of braking issues
And probably some of the
harder on 'em.
locations you have to park just to be able to get access to a door, right?
oh yeah.
I have to imagine it gets kind of. There's got to probably be some weird stories there that may not want to know. Maybe I do want to know. But anyway, there's some pretty good stuff. But you were telling me we have a new ER director.
Yes,
Coming.
John Sawyer is going to be the new ER, and he's also taking care of med surge, the floor also. So he's
So
going to.
very good. So that'll take a little pressure off you.
Yeah, it's going to take a lot of pressure off me.
But so let's explain. Ambulance, Director of Ambulance Services. Let's just kind of say, what would somebody looking at a job description say, what would that be? I mean, Director of Ambulance Services, you just make sure the ambulances are going out on time or what? There's a lot of work to all this, isn't there?
Oh yeah, we got to manage the staffing, the trucks, the equipment, ordering supplies, just all the day-to-day operation stuff to make it work. So
No. And ambulances get called out all the time,
Yep.
whether you have somebody to come back or not. Like a car accident, a lot of times you guys are en route right away, and then you find out you're not needed.
Yep. Yeah, well, it's just a whole different world. Every day is different.
So when you are needed, though, at a sign, and I guess when the paramedics come back, do they give you a list of the things that they used in that ambulance, or is that something that you have to go into a checklist with?
They keep track of everything they use, and then that's ordered at the end of the shift.
I see. So you replenish it immediately.
Yep.
Well, that's a good idea because if you got called right back out and say, how about that IV? We ran out last guy. Sorry. That would not be a good thing.
No.
Not be a good thing at all. But so you're in charge of the staffing. You're in charge of you're not in charge of the dispatching of the ambulances out there,
No,
right?
the sheriff's department takes care of that for us. They do a great job. So
So they get the call, they contact the ambulance service right there, and then they respond to whatever they say, one or two. Sometimes there's two ambulances that go, right?
yeah, and they're pretty quick to. If it's really bad, they'll get a helicopter on standby for us. I mean, like I said, they're real proactive, and they really do help.
Well,
bunkers.
and as I'm hearing this, I'm thinking how important communication is between the ambulance drivers, sheriff's department, probably back at the hospital, maybe even air evac, and maybe even with the ER physician at times. So there's a lot of communications go on with that ambulance, isn't there?
Oh yeah, and like I said, all the people you mentioned are very crucial to it. So
So do those decisions come through you then when they or is that something that is, I guess, as the situation arises, each situation is its own dog, right?
Yeah, the paramedics on the trucks just make the decision. So
Okay.
we'll make sure it's the right decision later, but we're going to let them do what they got to do. So
The idea is to get the person back, get treatment as quickly as possible, whether it's STEMI, whether it's a heart attack, whether it's a cut, maybe a fall. something of that nature, and then go from there.
Yep.
You know, a lot of people don't even realize, and Mike, that a lot of times our ambulance goes out for a fall where somebody falls and they literally can't get back up.
Yep.
And then the ambulance goes out there and assists that person. They may be injured, they may not be injured, but sometimes you don't want to play with that, do you?
No. And so I can tell you about a third of our calls, we don't transport a patient. So they'll go out and help lift somebody up. They'll overdoses that we can fix. So, like I said, about a third of them, and that's pretty much a nationwide standard. And we fall right into it. So, but like I said, those patients don't go to the hospital.
So when an ambulance does respond, let's say to a car accident, you see somebody out there and they've got some surface cuts. They're not damaged, maybe a little glass cut or something of that nature. Do you guys assess them at the at the site, or do you have to ask them if they want assessment?
So we always have to have permission to take care of anybody.
Okay.
But yeah, we will do an assessment, and if we don't transport, there is no charge. So.
But if you see somebody who's out cold and there's bleeding or something of that nature, you guys have to make a decision right away.
Yep, we'll just make the decision for them, take them to the hospital. So,
a lot of life and death decisions are made, and I don't even think people realize that they have to be made quickly. You know,
yeah,
and a lot of time, and we start talking about communication. Well, right there, you're talking to either deputies or maybe police officers on the scene, or maybe even the first paramedic that shows up is giving information maybe for a second ambulance coming in.
Or trying to find mutual aid ambulances from other counties if we need to, if there's a big scene.
Let's not hope that big.
Yeah, it can get...
that sounds like a lot of people.
Oh, yeah. It can get a little bit tricky sometimes.
Yeah. You know, when we talk about air evac or ambulance services through air, and not always air evac, they're not always going to be available. When you get to a site, let's say it's a site like Bunker or some faraway distance, because our district is huge.
Oh, yeah.
Do you try and coordinate with them whether you want to bring that patient back to the hospital and get it there, or can they come out and do a remote site?
Yeah, usually our dispatch is really good, and they can give us enough information so we can make a decision on the way there. If it's somebody in Bunker, usually we'll just lift the aircraft and they'll fly to Bunker, and it'll speed up the whole transport for them.
Over by the fire department somewhere in there?
There's a few different landing areas we have, and if not, we can put them anywhere, just in a big field.
So when we talk about this, like you just said, a big field, does the hospital or air evac go out and actually scout the area for different sites? Because if they were called, let's just say they're called to Bixby, do you know where to go in Bixby?
We have some prearranged landing zones.
Okay,
and then
that's what I mean.
Yeah, otherwise we'll have the fire departments in the area help find a landing zone for us.
Or create one?
Yep.
Well, there's nothing wrong with creating one. I guess if you have to do it, you know, it's one of those things that is so important.
Oh, yeah.
So there's a lot of different duties to your job, isn't there?
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of knowledge they got to have,
So emergency management, huh?
Emergency management, there's another one, yeah.
So so the emergency management that you do at the hospital, is that a plan that you have for the hospital itself? Or is that tied into the emergency management director at Denton County, or maybe a little bit of everything, right?
Kind of intertwines with them, but it's a plan that we have at the hospital. And then we have separate areas like dialysis, long-term care, home health. They all have to have separate ones.
And then you have to coordinate that.
Yeah, I help them keep them up to date.
Wow.
So
you do that in that 15 extra minutes you have. And emergency management changes all the time, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah.
You get edicts coming down from the federal government,
especially with COVID.
State.
That's where we saw the most changes. So it was just nonstop. They wanted you to do something different.
And we still have COVID, but has that relaxed a little bit more now?
It's gotten a little bit, I'd say, a push towards the worse. We're seeing some sicker patients again. So
just
got to keep an eye on it.
You have to do that.
Yeah. So if people get sick, then you just keep an eye on themselves and then get help if they need it. So.
But are you finding a lot of people that are getting sick with COVID right now may have another underlying illness?
Most of them do. The ones that are bad. So
all of a sudden it's kind of
just makes it worse,
escalating quicker than anybody thought. Because we know that COVID's going to be around
for a long time.
Yeah, it's not going to go away.
Nope.
There's going to be some derivative of it, and I think people might lose sight of that when they start talking about. Two different types, the Delta variants, and then we had the Micronom variant.
Omicron.
Okay, Omicron.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So this is just like the flu in a way because the flu mutates and then changes to something different, doesn't it?
Yep. Delta was our worst. I can tell you when we had that, that was the one that filled up the hospital. We couldn't transfer anybody anywhere, so that was our rough period at the hospital. So Omicron, we didn't have that much. It was a lot more relaxed. So
yeah, more of the sniffles and a little bit of a fever, but not the problem with the lungs and the capacity and shutting down of organs, right? Yeah. So, but it's still nothing to sneeze at because it doesn't matter which variant you get; it can affect people differently.
Oh yeah, everybody differently.
So that's got to be the fun part of an ambulance director too, because when you are assessing a patient, getting them ready to send somewhere, there's a lot of information that you guys need right off the bat. First off, allergies is, if somebody's allergic to penicillin, if they're allergic to aspirin, if they're allergic to this, you guys need to know that right off the bat, don't you?
Oh yeah, and that's one of our first questions we'll ask. So, kind of what's going on? You have any allergies?
Sure.
Meds, history.
Right.
So,
And it would be nice if people had that when you arrive on the scene, either on their person or with a loved one that can give that to you, right?
And what we're seeing now is a lot of people have these apps. So if they go to the hospital, they have an app that tells you everything. So they'll just pull it up and show it to you.
If you can find their phone.
Yep. And it makes it really nice.
Yeah, and it really is good. I mean, there's been a number of different ways. People write them down. I know my dad always had his written down on the list in his wallet, which is a good thing. But if somebody in emergency services gets there, you have to find the wallet.
Oh, yeah.
To know that. So, or the phone, if they have an app on their phone that has it, you still have to find those things to make sure that whatever you're giving them that they're not allergic to. Because that could that could just be detrimental to everybody involved. We just don't want to do that. So there's a lot of things to consider. I hope people understand that these decisions have to be made spontaneously. For the most part.
Oh, yeah.
If there's a serious accident, you can't sit there and say, well, I wonder. These people need treatment right away, and you can't banty about. Now, if let's just say their physician is at SMDH Family Medicine, that's a lot easier to get all that.
Yeah, we can
much
get that
quicker,
pretty quick.
Quick. Yeah, very good. A lot of good stuff out there that people really need to be aware of.
Oh yeah.
And do you recommend that? I know a lot of people wear bracelets and things of that nature if they have an allergy. Do you recommend that?
As long as they like it, it's okay. We do look for them, bracelets, necklaces.
Okay, just in case.
Yep.
Yeah, and you'll have the little medical symbol on there, and then you turn it over, and that has what they're allergic to. It's a good idea. I think it's a good idea to have it if you have a severe allergy to something that you should have
some type of really weird health history that we need to know.
Well, yeah, because I've known people allergic to aspirin. I know codeine is a big one, and codeine is in a lot of different painkillers, and so you don't want to be allergic to codeine and give it to somebody and say, "Well, I wonder why they're not responding." Not a good. Did you look here?
Yeah,
no. But that's the whole idea. The idea we want to talk about when somebody goes and makes that assessment. The first thing you're doing is safety of that patient. Even though they may be injured, they may be suffering pain, you have to take every precaution first to make sure you're not doing something that's going to possibly take their life.
Oh yeah. On the same lines, we are seeing a lot of increases in overdoses right now. So something we need to keep an eye on. People are needing help. We're actually really lucky in this area. We have so many resources available, but people just don't know about them or don't go to them. But so KSMO, Behavioral Health, Four Rivers, Compass Health, all these people have great resources to help these people. So if you know anybody looking for help, push them in the right direction.
Yeah, overdoses of any kind are not a good idea. And while we're talking about that, overdoses, I think people say, oh yeah, opioids or something of that nature. It doesn't have to be something like that. It can be an over-the-counter drug that somebody takes way too much of. That can be just as detrimental if taken in the wrong amounts, right?
Yep. And actually, we're even seeing it with some of the just recreational drugs like just marijuana. People are lacing those now. So you smoke your normal marijuana and you go unresponsive and die. So it's a little more scary than it used to be. So
well, I understand the normal marijuana that used to be has now been chemically enhanced.
Yep.
And when they do the chemically enhanced, it changes the entire molecular structure of the marijuana, does it not?
Yeah, and they're adding the fentanyl and all that stuff to them too. So
That's not marijuana. If
I
you're
know
adding fentanyl
it's
to
getting
it.
pretty rough now.
Yeah, yeah. So what you're smoking something that's not, or digesting it, or however it's prepared.
Yep.
You know, even gummies for marijuana. I'm like, oh, that's
I've
scary.
heard I've been hearing about those mixed with fentanyl. So,
Yeah, and I'm
just
thinking that's just scary because a little kid will see that. And the first thing they'll do is think it's candy and pick it up and start eating it, and the next thing you know, it can be detrimental. So, you know, a lot of people, you need to be very cautious of the drugs that you take. Even though you know what they are, if you've got visitors that come over, let's say you have younger siblings that come over that have children. You're not used to putting your medications high, get them away from them, or making sure they're locked away. And those kids go to the bathroom. They look at, first thing they do is they look in the medicine cabinet, and lo and behold, oh my gosh, here's something Grandpa never told me about. It looks like a gummy. They really do need to be careful of that stuff.
Oh
don't
yeah,
they?
definitely. So they can definitely cause some big issues. So.
And more over the counter, let's just say supplements now, seem to be coming in gummy form as well. Oh, hey, get your turmeric in gummy form. Take 50 of them. Probably not. Probably not a good idea, is it? But this does, and then they actually treat it to where it's very tasty. Almost tastes like candy.
Oh yeah, and kids don't know any different. So
Well, sometimes even adults don't know any different. So you definitely need to make sure that you follow the directions. If you're taking supplements, even if your physician orders you to take supplements, they're going to tell you how much to take.
yeah,
Yeah, it doesn't mean because you go buy the gummy collagen that you take 10 of them just because they taste good.
they're so yummy.
Yeah, yeah. You know, my kid's eating his gummy bears, his Hasbro gummies or whatever, and I'm going to eat mine. You know, but it is something that's getting a little bit more scary because supplements, it seems like I'm seeing more and more and more of them, and more different brands are coming out, Mike, all the time. And you need to read those things before you buy them because, okay, I bought the white jar and it should be 50 milligrams. Well, it might be 500 milligrams. And all of a sudden you're taking 3 of the 50s, you take 3 of the 500s.
Yep, you can have some definite issues after that.
Yeah, you definitely can. So, you know, always talk to your physician if you're going to take supplements. Yeah, a lot of them right now sometimes say, yeah, a little vitamin D never hurt anybody. 50 milligrams of that's not going to hurt you, especially if you don't get outside much and you need to maybe get a little extra push in that. Vitamin C sometimes is good if you're not doing it, but watch out again for those, what I'm going to call artificially flavored gummies for vitamin C, also tablets. I've gotten some tablets before that were really tasty. You know, they tasted like an orange. I mean, literally. And they had 500 milligrams. Well, 500 milligrams, you eat 3 or 4 or 5 of those, you're going to feel it because it's going to make you hustle. You know, because overdosing of some supplements, it's going to create some bodily functions that are not probably the best, including diarrhea, things of that nature. Other ones can that also are normal, like people taking niacin, they get that flushing feeling. You get that burning sensation in your ears and your head, and that's a normal reaction to that, but it is kind of scary, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
If you've never had it before.
Oh yeah.
Why is my head on fire, right?
We see a lot of issues with energy drinks too in children, so they taste yummy too. So
I was going to ask you about it. You see these people with these energy drinks, and they're guzzling them down. Now there's
3 or 4 or 5 a day.
There's a lot of stuff in those that your body can react to as well, right?
Yep. Yeah, that much caffeine can be dangerous for you. So I'd say if you are one of those people that does multiple energy drinks in a day, you should probably talk to your doctor.
Yeah.
So
I mean, somebody says, "Oh, I have 5 to 8 cups of coffee a day," and those energy drinks, if you drink 3 or 4 of those in an hour or two, that's like 40 cups, right?
Yep.
That's a little bit much. You know, and yes, caffeine is a drug, correct?
Yep. Oh yeah, stimulant.
And it can get that blood pressure going crazy. It can speed up your heart. It can do a lot of different things.
Cause some heart damage too. So Yep.
Yeah, we want you to do things in moderation. While I got you here a little bit, we got Independence Day coming up. A lot of people will be out and about shooting fireworks. You know,
yeah.
you've been in the emergency room. You've responded to these before. Firework burns, and I think people think, oh, I'm going to go get sparklers. They're great. They're fun. Let the little kids play with the sparklers. Very dangerous, isn't it?
Yeah, sparklers took my kid to the ER a couple of years ago, so always be careful. We didn't know she was doing them, but the neighbor gave her one, and she didn't have any shoes or socks on, so a little piece of it fell down, and she stepped right on it and burned into her foot. So
But sparklers,
things you don't think about.
And they can
Yep.
they can light anything on fire.
Yep.
They can get as high as 2,000 degrees,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Uh-huh.
And it's all on a stick, and that stick's glowing orange at the end of it. And you're saying, "Hey, that's kind of cool." You know, put it on your skin. But you can get some very nasty burns
Yep.
out of fireworks, especially like a sparkler or something where you're holding it in your hand. Kind of crazy,
Yep.
but it's something to do. Also, other fireworks that we need to be probably aware of, and I know a couple of growing up, like rockets and things of that nature, or bottle rockets. You just don't know where they're going to go, do you?
Oh, no. Especially if they're older fireworks. Then they're a lot more dangerous, too. So
And they have a report on the end, which means they're going to explode.
Oh,
So
yeah.
the last thing you want to do is have that bottle rocket come hit you and then blow up in your face. It can do some damage, take out an eye. It can do some very major damage to you. I remember years ago we used to have non-report bottle rocket fights, thinking that was pretty cool. Well, yeah, I got hit in the cheek one time, and I thought, this is stupid, But you don't think about that until somebody actually can get hurt. But we didn't have any reports in them, we thought that was safe. A bottle rocket goes about 40 miles an hour, for a short duration, and then it kind of just tapers off and falls off. But they can be very dangerous. But any firework can be very dangerous. And I know they do allow fireworks to be shot off in the city from July 1st to the 6th. In case you're listening to us and you did not know that, yes, you can. 8 in the morning until 10 o'clock during the day, except for Independence Day. You can go to midnight. But if you are going to shoot off fireworks, do it safely.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no holding them and throwing them and put them on the ground and light them.
I had a cousin that
Supervise your kids.
used to take M80s. Now, M80s, that's
Oh, yeah.
pretty serious stuff, right? He used to throw them in a pond and just watch them blow the fish out, and then he'd go and scoop the fish. And I'm thinking, it's kind of unfair, isn't it? The fish don't have a chance.
Oh.
They don't even know it's coming, and you're throwing these things in there. But, he showed it, and it just looked, it was a little thing. It didn't look like much. I thought, okay, like 2 inches long and a nice wax wick coming out, and he'd light that thing and hold it in his hand, and then I'd watch just all this water shoot out. I don't think you should be doing that in your hand. That's very dangerous.
Oh, yeah.
That's like a quarter stick of dynamite. If that goes off, your hand may not be there.
Yeah. We
Or
see
you're
a
gonna
lot
have
of finger injuries every year. So.
But finger injuries can happen with firecrackers.
Oh, yeah.
You can blow a good piece of your finger off and things of that nature with firecrackers and things. So again, fireworks, yeah, they're beautiful. Let the professionals do it. If you want to partake in that, keep a safe distance from them. That's all
Watch
I can
your
tell you.
kids.
And watch your kids. Kids just get, well, I know I was a kid too. And I love fireworks. But I actually had an accident to where we were at a friend's house and we each had our own bags of fireworks. Well, somebody shot one and went into my bag.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it was full of bottle rockets and firecrackers and helicopters and, oh man, everything started shooting out of that bag at one time. And you talk about having to run, and we were all hiding behind stuff. You didn't know where anything was going. So,
Yep.
but then you never know when it's finished. So don't go pick up an old firecracker.
No.
You throw it, and it doesn't go off, leave it alone.
Yep.
Go step on it, go get away, douse it in water, pick it up 2 hours later. Don't go thinking, I wonder what's going on with this. Not a good idea.
Yep.
Not a good idea. So anyway, I know the ambulance guys will be aware. I'm sure we'll have a firework or two incident that's going to happen over the weekend.
Unfortunately.
But please be careful with them. And that's something that's, it's careless. You just don't have to be that way. But watch out for that stuff. We have had good weather here lately, but boy, we had some pretty hot weather there for a
Yeah,
while.
it's going to warm up again today, it said.
It is, but not going to be seriously hot. But we had some seriously hot days
Yeah,
where the humidity
last
got
week
up.
was pretty rough.
Yeah, got up to 107, and so those heat indexes. It looks like next week after 4th of July, we're going to get back into that swing again. People need to really be aware of heat exhaustion and heat stroke because that's not something to mess with, is it?
No. Keep yourself hydrated. Make sure lots of water if you're doing anything. So
It's people get out and they want to cut the grass or they want to finish this job. And you know, you only got, I only got 5 more minutes, but you're really feeling bad. Stop if you're feeling.
Take a break if you need it.
Take a break, back off. The last thing you want to do is get that heat stroke, stop sweating, and get very clammy and even possibly even pass out.
Yep.
That is not where you want to get. You know, I always tell people, get some cool cloths, not cold.
Mm-hmm.
Don't drink ice cold water, drink cool, you know, just basically out of the tap at best. But you can take some cool towels and really start cooling the body temperature down on the back of the neck and the armpits, you know, forehead. Do not put an ice cold water bottle or some crazy thing on their heart. But you see people do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
That can be extremely deadly.
Yeah. Yeah, you want to cool them down slowly. So
Yeah. And then as the washcloths or towels start to warm up with the body heat, then just go ahead and put cool water again and continue to slow that, get the body temperature to come down slowly, right?
Yep. Absolutely.
But don't forget to call 911. If you've got somebody in that condition, don't mess with them.
Yep. And we can even just come out and just check them out.
Yeah.
So we don't have to transport. We can always just evaluate people. So,
But a lot of times it may not be a bad idea to transport them if they have stopped sweating and things of that nature. You don't want to have the issues you can have with heat. Heat exhaustion is one thing, and that'll affect you. Could affect you the rest of your life because you can't take that heat again like you used to.
no, once you have heat stroke once, you're going to have it a lot quicker the next time.
Right,
So.
and then the heat stroke though is the scary thing because you can get delirious
Oh, yeah.
and just kind of go bonkers. So you don't want to have that happen. That's going to kind of call your brains burning up in there, and not a good thing.
Nope.
So as Mike said, take breaks, slow it down, get cooled down, get out of the sun, get in the shade. Air conditioning is good, but don't, if you're super, super, super hot, don't go walking in a super air and it's cold. You get a chill. I mean, it can actually do it, but just stop, go inside, get out of the sun. Just got to try and cool yourself down. A little bit of water is always good to do that, but again, just well hydrated. And you actually should get hydrated prior to you going out and doing those jobs, right?
Absolutely.
A lot of people love their gardens and may not love cutting grass, but they're probably out there doing it. Right now, though, it has slowed down.
Oh, yeah.
From that 2 to 3 times a week to, I just looked at mine the other day. I said, I don't even need to cut it again. It's only been a week, but it's not growing at all.
Not at all.
Not at all. Well, Mike, thank you. There's a lot of information out there. A lot of people really probably never understood what an ambulance director has to do and stuff in emergency management, but also you guys see a whole bunch of things, and I'm sure the last thing you want to say to anybody out there, be careful on Independence Day. People do tend to get a little careless with fireworks, but also they get a little careless sometimes on holidays. Maybe too much libation, too much food, too much heat. Just don't overdo it.
Yep. Moderation.
Everything in moderation. My friend, good to see you.
Hey, you too.
Take care. Mike Gruenberg, Salem Memorial District Hospital ambulance director, emergency management guy. What else?
TCD coordinator.
What is that?
Stroke and STEMI.
Ah, yes. Ah, yes. And that is a whole thing on its own. Yeah. We won't even get into that today. That can be a long conversation. Want to thank Mike for coming in, and happy Independence Day to you, sir. Stay with us. We've got more on the way with our Civic Record next.
Summer is in full swing and the deals are heating up at Lowe's. Find 4th of July savings to keep your yard